It has been a disastrous day in the markets. You need to see the technicals that I have for you to see the other levels that are surrounding where we're coming into this market close. It is 352, nearly 353 as I record this video right now. So we're near that market close. We need to see how we're setting it up for tomorrow. I can't stress enough how important it is that we have the JOLTS numbers coming up. They need to come in strong for us. And then also what we have for Friday with non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. I talked about it in my morning video. Go watch that for a further look. We'll just do the technicals in this one. So we're going to kick things off with SPY and put this up here. So I did not change the technicals from this morning, and you can see the support level that I have in here in green at about 550. We blew right through this support that I have. We came up just a little bit above, couldn't hold it, smashed down through support, bouncing right down around here. We would be watching for this green zone for now resistance to the top side, as I'm assuming that we're going to close down below that. So I'm going to switch this over to red from green, and that will then identify that as being a resistance for us. There we go. Now that we came down through that, it was support before. Now it's resistance. That 50-day is going to be absolutely huge for us. Now, mind you, bouncing off of that, that could be an area for a huge recovery for us. We're going to have to watch and see. It's not surprising that we would come down so far on this leading up to the jobs numbers, which I said first week in September is going to be critical for us. And you can see the market is even saying so right now as we look at what happened with SPY. Going over to QQQ, led by Nvda, which I said Nvda earnings could signal the top of the market. It's starting to look like that's actually the more recent top that we got then was the Nvda earnings. The NASDAQ 100 down in this free fall area down to, we have room down to this 454 number. So be on the lookout for that. We might just make it there. We're going to have to watch and see. We fell down through this support. And like I said, with SPY, this area, now that we're down below it, that turns into resistance for us. So I'll switch that to red for you as well. So be on the lookout for that push down to 454. Most likely, we'll be looking for the floor or the ceiling at some point in time. And maybe I'm missing a line in here. We're going to have to find that out. But I do think that we could potentially hit this price target to the downside. And let me get rid of this because that support is no longer there. It is critical when we now look at this resistance and we have this trend line on top of it. Breaking down through that is actually going to be pretty significant for us. Matter of fact, I can probably make that a little bit better. We'll grab a hold of the anchor point there and we'll take this anchor point here. That's probably what we're looking at for trend line resistance, at least near term off of this anyway. So for tomorrow, watch for that top side. Could be limited for us after such a big sell today. Tomorrow could possibly be green. I'm glad I have my short hedges out because I was still able to see some decent green in my portfolio today with these big moves that we have happening. You threw things like TMF, SQQQ, you name it. I have those in place just in case we get days like this where we have those sells, and they are printing today. So that's excellent that they are out there. If you want to see my buys and sells, you can do that using the link down in the description for the Patreon. Click that, sign on up. Get over to the Discord. That's where the buys and sells are. That's where my community is. We'd love to see you over there. And if you guys want to learn these technicals, you can also find a link for that course through Stockmo Academy down in the description as well. Click on that, sign up using the code word doctor, get a big old savings on that one. Let's look at IWM. Now this right here. So I would say that I hit for SPY with the technicals. QQQ, you know, I'm going to take a relook at this. I'm redoing a lot of my technicals. I will show you Tesla and Nvda, by the way. Wait until you see those. Actually, the next 4 charts that I have to show you. So IWM, they're pretty incredible. So I would say that I went 5 for 6 today. So moving over to IWM, look at that trend line support that we got. That I had that flagged. If you watch my morning video, this was already here. Critical support for us. And man, we came right down to it. Caught the top of this trend line. That is the top of a part of a bullish channel. So you should check that out. And big old support down beneath that. The 50 EMA and SMA also down below that support. So we have a fair amount of support down below this, and we're going to have to watch and see. Now, mind you, Goldilocks scenario, if we get confirmatory information from the economic reports this week for jobs data, that what we're having is still a tight labor market, but we're also seeing the Fed cutting rates for us, and so reduced inflation. And on top of that, continued strong economy with a lower federal funds rate. That could be really good for the Russell 2000 stocks. I don't know that this is the bottom, but I will say that if we do keep on selling down, that becomes more lucrative for IWM finding that time and it's in the sun. And I do think that can still happen, that we're going to see a strong movement in that between now and the end of year. Even if we haven't seen bottom yet, I think there's still a bottom to be made between now and the election. So we're going to have to be watching for that. So came down, touched that. So for tomorrow, we have a 38.2 in here around 214. Got to clear back up over that to have a shot at this upside resistance up here around 216 to 217. So be on the lookout for that one. If we blow the support that's here and head further south down even below the 50 EMA and SMA, we could see this thing travel down to about 210 and then big old support coming in around 209-ish. So if we get down to 210, don't be surprised if 209 also shows up. Massive support there. So let's move over into Bitcoin, because check it out. If I move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see a little bit more of the near-term price action. Now, I did move this trend line. I further adjusted it to the tops that we have here. Just a minor adjustment from what it was. So if you look at the morning video and compare it to now, that's going to be moved just a little bit. Just like I said, for these tops that are on here, I think this is a much better looking trend line. So I had this right here, my first price target of 57,598, and we find ourselves right around 58,000. Now, mind you, we actually crossed down below that over the weekend and into yesterday. And then in today's market, look where we got rejected and we sold right back off. We now have this trend line as that resistance. Now, mind you, this was a little bit farther north, I believe, and I moved it a little bit to catch these tops that are on here just to tweak those technicals just a little bit. Check out Tesla. So for Tesla, I updated these earlier today. I put that over at the Discord, available through the Patreon, link down in the description. And I said 216 was critical. We were able to pop up above. That's the 50 SMA that's right there. Pretty much got rejected, said, nope, can't clear that right now. It actually came back down. We are finding ourselves just north of 210, which is my first price target that's on here for Tesla. So we want to be on the lookout for Tesla. Let me give some of these visuals that you can see in here. Come on, come on. There we go. There you can see the price target at 210 coming in, and we actually come back down to that 210. If we do continue to sell, we have the 23.6 Fibonacci down here at about 203. My price target 2 is at 200, and then down below that 187. So if we sell down, that's where we're looking at. If we go to the north side, if we're able to retake that 50, we have price targets to the top side 223, 234, and 242. These yellow dotted lines are the most recent Fibonacci retracement. We were not able to hold the 38.2. We could potentially sell down further from here. And what we see for the RSI, man, we are just you can even see the price action here, just kind of moving sideways on this thing in kind of a volatile manner. So we had to watch and see what's happening next for us. That selling pressure up here, not necessarily great as we get near that 50-day. So we crossed down below it, retested, rejected. It is possible that we sell down more on Tesla. We're going to have to watch and see. Crossing over that 50 to the upside would be a very bullish thing. So check out Nvda. Also updated technicals here for more recent price action. So this is another one that I've updated since this morning. I put it over at the Patreon so you can see it, well, at the Discord available through the Patreon. You can see that over there as well before it reaches YouTube. So you can see my more recent price targets that I have, that just north of 50% Fibonacci retracement at about 111 is the price target of 112. You can see the area of resistance there. The 38.2 is at about 115 or 116. And check that out, by the way. We fell down below that, blasted through the 50. We still are up above the 61.8. That's a good thing for us. We can still bounce pretty strongly from there. And RSI on a daily basis, we are down below 50. The weekly basis for the RSI, by the way, is still north of 50, but declining. And on the monthly basis, we're still overbought, but barely. So as that comes down, and as that settles a little bit, we could see a little bit more settling. Maybe not tomorrow, but over the next several weeks, maybe. We're going to have to watch and see. This, I said it's going to be a wild ride, going to be a volatile time, and so far that's what it's proving to be. Watch for Nvda. If it does go down to 2 digits, that's where I think the real opportunities are going to start coming in here. Like if we make it to price target 3 down here at like 94, like at some point in time, giddy up. So wherever we happen to sell, like I said, tomorrow, probably going to chop back up again a little bit, especially after having a day where it's down almost 10%. So for Nvda, like, I don't think it's down and out. It's too strong of a company for that. There's just too much growth going on. September's not usually a great month for trading, and you know, we're kind of seeing some of that play out. But just remember, don't be overly bearish at this time. Well, it's not financial advice. These are my thoughts, but I'm not overly bearish at this point in time. I have my long position in Nvda. I have my short hedges out there. I haven't closed or touched any of my long positions. I just add to them over time. So for these, whether it might happen to be Tesla, Nvda, SoFi, you name it, for the individual companies that are out there, those are ones I just kind of let ride, and I think that they're going to return to us very well over time. And you know, these technicals are very near-term technicals that I'm giving you here in the after hours. Now that we're at 402, and I think it's going to be pretty solid. So watch for a drop down to about 106, which is where that 61.8 is. If we check that tomorrow, if we come down to that 106.19, which is that 61.8 level, if we bounce off of that, watch for that support up ahead, we can get a huge bounce off of that 61.8. If we cross down through it, if we close down below it, then we can keep on selling. So we're going to have to watch and see what it brings to us. We bounce off the 106, watch for this support up here. It's pretty strong. I'm sorry, this should be labeled as resistance now that we closed below it. When I did this technical, it was up above it. So let's change that to say resistance, and it'll be a little bit more accurate for it. Resistance, there we go. Press OK. Got resistance. And last thing, I'm going to change this from green over to red. We closed below it, but not much below it. But these are really, really solid numbers that I have in here. There's a lot of accuracy that goes along with it. Let's actually move that down. Probably put a rectangle in there because there's a lot of different values that come in there. There's even a whole number Fibonacci extension value at about 108.70-ish. So that, getting down below that, watch for us to catch the 61.8, see if we bounce. If not, watch for it to go a little bit lower because that could potentially happen for us. So guys, I'm going to let you go because my daughter has a softball game coming up. I think it's her, well, third or fourth, because on Thursday of last week was a doubleheader. So I guess technically this is the fourth one then. So has her fourth softball game. She's like 7 weeks in. I played baseball for 9 years. Absolutely love it. I'm a girl dad. I have 3 daughters. I have no sons. And so for one of them to actually play a sport or be in an activity that I was actually a part of, this is pretty incredible and pretty cool for me. And very excited about it. So she's only about 7 weeks into practicing anything softball, and she's doing phenomenally. I'm very proud of her, as I'm proud of all my daughters. But this, to me, this is a fairly exciting thing because I actually know what's going on. Unlike when she does gymnastics or when my oldest daughter does dance, heck, I don't know what's going on. The youngest one is only 14 months old. This month, she'll turn 15 months old. I'm just proud of her for all the things that she's learning, doing, starting to really walk all over the place, say a lot of words, you name it. It's all incredible. I love it. So guys, for the markets, kind of a yuck day today. This is a day that shows you why I have the short hedges that are out there. And with the volatility that we've seen, my long positions, I really do have a lot of conviction in them. And I plan not to touch them, but I do a lot of this through options, whether it's calls, puts, you name it, volatility strategies that would use both of those things. I also have those mixed in there as well. And like I said, if you guys want to see my buys and sells, I do post them at the Discord available through my Patreon, link down in the description. And the technical analysis, like I said, if you want to learn about technical analysis, empower your trading through technical analysis, you can do so using that link down in the description for the course for Stockmo Academy. Learn about the bread recipe, learn how to set it up. I use it all the time. As a matter of fact, Nvda, if you were watching on Friday, gave a sell signal according to the bread recipe. If you knew what you were looking for, there was an indication that the momentum was just tipping that way. So as a matter of fact, I can put it on the screen, and I will tell you that right in here is where you got that signal. And you actually had a little bit of confirmation that was in here as well. And you know, if you were watching that and if you were playing the bread recipe, then that's something that you could have been a part of. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Check out those links. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. And we'll see you in the next video.